Let me ask you something. Are you playing full out? Are you giving life everything you've got, or are you stuck in the cycle of hesitation, self-doubt, and waiting for the right time? Because let me tell you something, there is no right time, there is only right now. I learned this the hard way. My life didn't change because I hoped it would. It didn't change because I wished for it or sat around dreaming about. One day, it changed because I made a decision. A real deep, no turning back decision. And that's what I want to share with you today. 3 rules that completely transform my life. Rule number 1, the power of absolute commitment. Most people dip their toes in, test the water, and wonder why they never get anywhere. But the moment I stopped giving myself an exit strategy, everything changed. I burned the bridges. I cut off the excuses. If you want to create a breakthrough, you can't just try, you must decide. Because the second you go all in, the universe moves with you. Rule number 2, control your mind, control your life. Your mind is either your greatest weapon or your biggest prison. If you let fear, doubt, and negativity control your thoughts, your life will follow that same path. But when you take charge, when you feed your mind with empowering beliefs, powerful habits, and unstoppable discipline, you start shaping reality on your terms. Change your mind and you will change your life. And rule number 3, the standard you set is the life you get. Listen to me. Your life right now is the direct result of what you have been willing to tolerate. The moment you raise your standards, the moment you refuse to accept anything less than what you truly deserve, the game changes. Winners don't settle. They demand more from themselves, from their habits, from their relationships, from their work. So if you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're ready for something bigger, better, and bolder, then this is your moment. No more waiting, no more excuses. The life you want is already within reach. But the question is, are you willing to take it? Let me ask you something. How many times have you said you wanted something, but deep down you knew you had one foot out the door? You wanted success, but you also wanted security. You wanted to chase your dreams, but you also wanted a backup plan. You wanted to give it everything, but only if it was guaranteed to work. Sound familiar? Because that was me. For years, I was stuck in that trap, half in, half out, always looking for a way to make sure I didn't fail too hard, didn't fall too far, didn't risk too much. And you know what that got me? Nothing. The moment everything changed for me was when I made a real decision. Not just an I hope this works kind of decision, not a let's see what happens kind of decision. I mean a no turning back, no excuses, burn the ships decision. The kind where you rip up the escape plan, shut down the safety net, and tell yourself this is happening no matter what. Because when you make a decision like that, something shifts inside you. Suddenly failure isn't an option anymore. You don't have time for doubt, and you don't have space for distractions. You stop wondering if it's possible and start making it possible. Think about it. How do people survive when their backs are against the wall? When they have no choice but to figure it out, they find a way. They get creative. They push through. They pull something out of themselves they never even knew was there. And do you know why? Because when there's no way out, the only way is through. That's the difference between people who achieve the extraordinary and those who stay stuck. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not intelligence. It's commitment. And I don't mean the kind of commitment where you say you'll do something as long as it's easy or as long as you feel motivated. I'm talking about the kind of commitment where you're willing to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes, no matter what stands in your way. Most people never get there because they leave themselves an exit. They say they want success, but they also want comfort. They want to grow, but they don't want to be uncomfortable. They want to win, but they don't want to sacrifice. And so they never go all in. They hold back, they hesitate, and that hesitation kills momentum before it even starts. But let me tell you, when you fully commit, when you say this is happening, period, the universe starts moving with you. The doors you thought were locked suddenly open. The opportunities you thought were impossible start appearing. You find the strength, the drive, the solutions because you have no other choice. I've seen it over and over again. The moment someone truly commits, everything changes. They go from struggling to unstoppable. They go from stuck to thriving. They stop making excuses and they start making progress. Because when you take quitting off the table, the only thing left to do is win. So I want you to ask yourself right now, what's the thing you keep saying you want, but you haven't truly committed to? What's the thing you're still keeping one foot out the door on. Maybe it's your career, maybe it's your health, maybe it's your relationships, maybe it's the business you've been talking about starting for years, but you've never actually gone all in on. Whatever it is, stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting for someone to tell you it's safe. Stop waiting for the guarantee. There is no guarantee except the one you make to yourself. The only thing that's going to change your life is your willingness to decide, commit, and never look back. And if that scares you, good. That means you're on the right track. Because nothing great has ever been built from comfort. Nothing legendary has ever been created with one foot out the door. If you want to achieve something extraordinary, you have to be willing to go all in. So this is your moment, right here, right now. Not next week, not next year, not when you feel ready, now. Decide, commit, and watch how fast everything in your life starts to change. Everything you've ever done, everything you've ever achieved, and everything you've ever failed at, it all started in one place, right here in your mind. Because whether you realize it or not, your mind is the command center for your entire life. The way you think shapes the way you act. The way you act shapes the results you get, and the results you get shape your reality. The problem is most people never take control of their minds. They let their thoughts run on autopilot. They let their fears, their doubts, their past failures dictate their future. They let the voices of other people, parents, teachers, friends, society, tell them what's possible, what they should do, how far they can go. And the worst part, they don't even realize it's happening. Think about this. How many times have you wanted to do something big? Start a business, take a risk, go after something you really wanted. And immediately before you even took the first step, a voice in your head said, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if people judge me? That voice, that's not reality. That's conditioning, that's programming. And if you don't take control of it, it will control you. Because here's the truth, your mind is like a garden. If you don't plant the right seeds, weeds will grow automatically. Negativity, fear, doubt, they will take root in your mind if you don't actively work to replace them. And those weeds, they will strangle your potential. They will keep you small. They will keep you stuck. But the moment you take control, the moment you start choosing what you focus on, everything shifts. When you fill your mind with powerful beliefs, with empowering thoughts, with the kind of mindset that refuses to accept limitations, suddenly new doors start to open. You start seeing opportunities where before you only saw obstacles. You start finding solutions where before you only saw problems. And let me tell you, this isn't just positive thinking. This isn't just about sitting in a corner and repeating affirmations until magically your life changes. No, this is about reprogramming your mind for success. It's about conditioning your brain the same way an athlete conditions their body day in, day out, training it to operate at a higher level, training it to work for you instead of against you. How do you do that? You start by becoming aware of your thoughts. Catch yourself when that voice of doubt creeps in. Catch yourself when fear tries to stop you. And in that moment, don't just listen, challenge it. Because most of the time, that voice is lying to you. It's not telling you the truth. It's telling you a story based on past experiences, on old fears, on things that no longer define you. And once you start challenging those old beliefs, you replace them with something stronger. You start feeding your mind the right fuel. You start surrounding yourself with people who push you higher, with ideas that expand your thinking, with habits that build confidence instead of destroy it. You start speaking to yourself in a way that empowers you instead of limits you, because let me tell you something, your words have power. The way you talk to yourself matters. If you keep telling yourself you're not good enough, not smart enough, not ready enough, you will find every reason in the world to prove yourself right. But if you start telling yourself, I am capable, I am relentless, I am unstoppable, you will start living into that truth. And this isn't just about motivation. This is science. Your brain is designed to look for proof of whatever you believe. It's called the reticular activating system. It filters reality and shows you the things that match your dominant thoughts. So if you believe you're not capable, your brain will highlight every mistake, every failure, every reason to confirm that belief. But if you shift that belief, if you start focusing on your strengths, on your potential, on the possibilities ahead, your brain will start showing you opportunities instead of obstacles. That's why the most successful people in the world all have one thing in common. They have mastered their minds. They don't entertain thoughts of failure. They don't waste time on self-doubt. They don't let fear dictate their actions. They've trained themselves to see solutions, to see opportunities, to see success even before it happens. And you can do the same. But it starts with a choice to stop letting your mind control you and start controlling your mind. A choice to stop feeding yourself doubts and start feeding yourself power. A choice to stop waiting for confidence and start creating it. Because the truth is, you already have everything you need. The only thing standing in your way is the story you've been telling yourself. Change the story and you change your life. Take a look at your life right now. Look at your health, your relationships, your finances, your career, every single part of it. Because here's the truth. Your life, exactly as it is today, is a direct reflection of the standards you've set for yourself. Not what you want, not what you wish for, but what you accept. Think about that for a second. People don't get what they want in life. They get what they tolerate. If you tolerate being out of shape, you'll stay out of shape. If you tolerate being in a job you hate, you'll stay in that job. If you tolerate toxic relationships, you'll keep attracting them. It's not about luck. It's not about talent. It's about the standard you set. Because there are people out there, people just like you, who came from nothing, who had no advantages, no resources, no handouts, but they refuse to lower their standards. They refuse to accept anything less than greatness. And that's why they made it. That's why they rose to the top. Now you might be thinking, but I work hard. I try my best. Why am I still stuck? I'll tell you why. Because deep down, you've set a standard that says this is okay. And until you raise that standard, nothing will change. Look at anyone who has ever achieved something extraordinary, and you will see the same thing. They raised their standards. They made success non-negotiable. They didn't just hope to be great, they demanded it from themselves. They didn't just say, I'd like to be fit. They said, I will be fit no matter what. They didn't just say, I want to be financially free. They said, I refuse to live paycheck to paycheck. And the second they made that decision, their actions followed. Because here's the thing, when you set a new standard, you don't just think differently, you move differently. You stop making excuses. You stop procrastinating. You stop waiting for the right time. You start finding solutions instead of reasons why it won't work. Let me ask you something. Where in your life right now are you settling? Where have you convinced yourself that good enough is okay? Because good enough is the enemy of greatness. The second you settle for good enough, you lose the fire, you lose the hunger, and before you know it, years have passed and you're still in the same place. But the good news, you can change it right now, not next week, not next year, right now. You can decide in this moment that you will no longer settle, that from this point forward, you will raise the standard for what you accept in your life. Because when you truly raise your standards, when you make success non-negotiable, when you refuse to accept anything less than the absolute best from yourself, the world shifts in your favor. Opportunities show up. The right people come into your life. You start attracting the things that match your new standard. This isn't about hoping. This isn't about waiting. This is about deciding that from this day forward, the life you live will be a reflection of the highest standard you set. Everybody wants success. Everybody wants the dream, the money, the freedom, the body, the relationship. But here's the difference between the people who get it and the ones who don't. The ones who make it happen, they take action. The ones who stay stuck, they make excuses. That's it. It's the entire game. Because at the end of the day, it's not about how smart you are. It's not about how much you know. It's not about how great your ideas are. It's about one thing. What are you doing about it? Because let's be real. Ideas are worthless without execution. Motivation is useless without movement. Knowledge is meaningless without action. And yet, most people sit on the sidelines of their own lives. They overthink, they hesitate, they analyze every possible outcome. And do you know what happens? Not because action beats intention every single time. You don't get results from thinking about doing something. You don't build confidence from planning. You don't create success from waiting for the right moment. The right moment, it doesn't exist. The perfect conditions, they don't exist. The only thing that exists is right now. And the people who understand this, the ones who just start, even when they don't feel ready, even when they're scared, even when they don't have all the answers, those are the ones who change their lives. Think about it. How many times have you wanted to do something, but instead of taking the first step, you started listing all the reasons why it might not work? What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if people judge me? And suddenly you've talked yourself out of even trying. But here's the truth. Failure isn't the enemy. Inaction is. The only way you lose is if you don't start, because every time you hesitate, every time you overthink, every time you let fear hold you back, you're building a habit of waiting, a habit of stopping before you even begin. And that habit, it will destroy your dreams. But here's the good news. You can break that habit right now. All it takes is a decision to move, to act, to do something, anything that pushes you forward, because action creates momentum. And once you start, even in the smallest way, you build power. Think about the most successful people in the world. Do you think they had it all figured out before they started? No way. They jumped in. They figured it out as they went. They failed, they adjusted, they kept moving, and that's why they succeeded. Because success doesn't come from avoiding failure, it comes from pushing through it. So let me ask you, what's the thing you keep saying you'll do one day? What's the goal you keep putting off? What's the dream you've been waiting for the right time to chase? Because if you're waiting, let me tell you, the time is never going to feel perfect. You'll never feel fully ready. And if you don't act now, you'll wake up one day and realize you ran out of chances. So stop waiting, stop overthinking, stop letting excuses win, take the first step, do it messy, do it scared, do it before you're ready, because once you start moving, once you stop making excuses and start making progress, everything in your life will begin to change. Look around at the people who are truly winning in life, the ones who are fulfilled, successful, and constantly growing. What do they all have in common? They never stop learning, they never stop improving, they never settle, because the second you stop growing, you start dying. The second you think you got it all figured out, you start falling behind. Most people hit a certain level in life and they get comfortable. They learn just enough to get by. They put in just enough effort to stay afloat. They do just enough to keep things moving, but just enough is a dangerous place to be, because just enough turns into stagnation. And stagnation, that's where dreams go to die. That's where potential disappears. The world is moving fast. Business is evolving. Technology is advancing. People are getting stronger, smarter, faster. And if you're not growing, if you're not learning, if you're not actively getting better, you're not just standing still. You're falling behind. The most successful people on the planet, the ones who dominate their industries, who break records, who set new standards, they all have one thing in common. They are obsessed with getting better. They wait for growth to happen. They seek it out. They push themselves to read, to learn, to challenge their own thinking, to surround themselves with people who are smarter, stronger, better than them, because they know the moment they stop growing, they lose their edge. And that's the difference between the people who keep winning and the ones who fade away. The ones who keep winning are never satisfied. They celebrate their victories, but they never let themselves get comfortable. They don't just work hard until they reach their goal and then stop. No, they push for the next level. They ask, how can I improve? How can I get stronger? How can I become the best at what I do? Because let me tell you something, your potential is limitless. The only cap on your success, the only limit on what you can achieve is the one you place on yourself. But the second you decide that growth is your standard, that constant improvement is your only option, doors will start opening. You'll start seeing opportunities where you once saw obstacles. You'll start finding ways to win where before you only saw challenges. You'll start attracting people who push you higher instead of holding you back. Because growth isn't just about what you learn, it's about who you become. And the fastest way to grow, get around people who are ahead of you. Get around people who challenge you, who force you to level up, who make you uncomfortable. Because if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. If you're not being pushed, if you're not being challenged, if you're not being forced to stretch beyond what's comfortable, you're not growing. You're coasting. And coasting, that's a slow death. That's how you wake up one day and realize you wasted years playing small, staying in the same place, never becoming the person you were meant to be. So ask yourself, are you growing every single day? Are you reading, learning, stretching yourself? Are you surrounding yourself with people who push you forward? Are you committed to getting better? Not just when it's easy, not just when you feel like it, but every single day. Because when you make that commitment, when you decide that growth is not an option, but a necessity, everything in your life will start to change. At the end of the day, there's one thing that separates the people who build extraordinary lives from the ones who stay stuck. It's not talent, it's not intelligence, it's not even luck, it's consistency. It's the ability to show up day after day, putting in the work, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when no one's watching. Because let's be real, anyone can be motivated for a day. Anyone can get fired up after watching an inspiring video or hearing a great speech, but motivation fades. That feeling you get in the moment, it doesn't last, and that's where most people fail. They start strong, but the second it gets tough, the second they don't feel like doing it, they quit. They tell themselves they'll start again on Monday, next month, next year. And before they know it, they've spent their whole life starting over. But the ones who make it, the ones who break through, they don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. They rely on habits. They rely on showing up no matter what, because success isn't about doing something once. It's about doing it over and over and over again until it becomes who you are. Think about it. You don't get fit by going to the gym once. You don't build a business by working on it for a week. You don't create a powerful mindset by reading one book. It's about what you do every single day. It's about stacking the small wins, the tiny habits, the little decisions that compound over time until one day you look back and realize you've completely transformed. But most people never get there. Most people quit before they see the results. Why? Because they expect instant gratification. They want success now. They want results yesterday. And when they don't see them right away, they get frustrated. They tell themselves it's not working, that it's too hard, that maybe it's just not meant for them. But let me tell you something. Every single great thing you want in life takes time. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every massive success story you've ever heard started with one thing: consistent action over time. Look at the greatest athletes in the world. They don't train when they feel like it. They train every day. They put in the hours when no one's watching, when no one's cheering, when there's no immediate reward. They stay locked in, committed to the process, because they know that mastery isn't built in a day. It's built in the moments no one sees. Look at the most successful entrepreneurs. They don't build billion-dollar companies overnight. They grind for years through failure, setbacks, rejection. They show up even when it feels like nothing is working, even when the odds are stacked against them, because they understand something most people don't. Success is a game of endurance. And here's the truth. Your dreams, your goals, your vision for your life, it's all possible, but only if you stay in the game long enough to see it through. Only if you commit fully and completely to the process. Only if you stop looking for shortcuts, stop waiting for motivation, stop making excuses, and start doing the work every single day, no matter what. And it's not about being perfect. It's not about never failing, never messing up, never having an off day. It's about not letting those moments define you. It's about getting back up every time you fall. It's about being relentless. It's about knowing that success isn't about one big moment. It's about all the little moments added up over time. So ask yourself, where in your life have you been inconsistent? Where have you let yourself off the hook? Where have you started strong but failed to follow through? And more importantly, what would happen if, starting today, you decided to show up every single day no matter what? Because the second you make that decision, the second you commit to consistency, everything in your life will begin to change.